Good morning, loves. I have been craving going out and about on a bit of an adventure, so I thought I would take you with me today. I'm going to be heading up north to the town of Forres, which is somewhere I've not spent a huge amount of time. If you saw my van vlogs, you will have seen me exploring like the Moray coast, but I sort of just dipped into Forres and out. I didn't really spend much time in the actual town. It is very small, as are a lot of the towns and villages around, you know, northern Scotland, Scottish Highlands, that kind of thing, but I think there's enough there to keep me entertained for a little while. I know there's definitely a bookshop, so that is always a plus. You know, I love a like bookish day out. I want to treat myself to a wee coffee in a cafe and just explore, you know, shops, that kind of thing. See what we can find and go on like a mini road trip. So I've just been getting myself ready for the day. I'll show you my full outfit in a minute, but in terms of what I'm wearing on my face, all these products, all my makeup now is from Merit. I have worked with them before. This isn't sponsored, but I just love everything they do. I love that their products are all vegan, cruelty free, and they're like a minimalist beauty brand. So I've just got like a little bit of base on. I just use their complexion stick, which they call their minimalist, which can be used as like a concealer or a foundation. I've put on a touch of their highlighting balm, just like, oh, you probably won't be able to see on camera, but just like up and the sort of high cheekbones. I love their flush balms, so I've just put a little bit of this on. This one is in the shade Beverly Hills, which is my current favourite. It's like a nice soft kind of pinky brown colour, quite natural. And then I've actually not put any mascara on because I'm really lazy and I hate taking eye makeup off in the evening, so I've just curled my eyelashes and then used their, like, what do they call this? They're called a shade tinted lip oil. This one's in the shade Au Naturel, and it just kind of gives, you know, a little bit of colour, but it's not in your face, and it feels nice and moisturising on my lips as well. So that's kind of been my go-to makeup for someone that doesn't really wear a huge amount of makeup lately. And then in terms of outfits, I'm just wearing this trusty fleece that I wear all the time. I got it on Vinted, but it's from Urban Outfitters originally, and then I have layered it over this dress that is, again, I got from a charity shop, but it is, I think, Mountain Warehouse originally. And then I've just got leggings on because it's still cold here in the Highlands at the moment, and I've got my like Vivaya trainers on that I still have not washed, but they're super comfy, so I'm back into wearing these now that we are technically in spring, even if it's a bit more overcast today. I'll be taking my waterproof because it is actually forecast a little bit of rain today, but I will also be taking my tote bag, my sort of bookish one that I got from Waterstones, because it's the biggest one I've got, so it gives me plenty of room. I'm not really a handbag girl, but I've got in here a hat because, again, it's still a little bit cold. We did have some lovely weather up here and it was unseasonably warm, but now it's gone back to being a little bit chilly for April in the Highlands. And then I've just got some sunglasses because I don't know what the weather's going to be doing. And then I've just taken my lip oil with me for touch-ups. I've got my phone. I will take some water, and I made a little packed lunch and some snack bars as well. And then I always like to take a book and a journal whenever I go out and about, especially as I'm going to be spending some time in a cafe. So I'm going to take my Wind in the Willows book because I've been making my way through this, and it's a nice small size, so it's not going to be too heavy. And then I recently bought myself a new journal that I absolutely love, so I'll be taking this with me. It's from the brand Bookaroo, so it's the pen actually. So let's see, I love all their products, and I've been eyeing this. I would just love this size journal. It's just a really nice size to take out and about with me, so I'll maybe do a little bit of writing when I'm in a cafe. So that's me all ready, so let's head on our day out. I just had a really lovely coffee at Café Fika, which I think is a vegetarian cafe. That's what I looked up anyway. So I just had a oat latte and did a little bit of journaling. I love doing that in cafes, kind of writing about the cafe and like the other people in there and like making up stories about them. It's one of my favourite things to do. But I'm now making my way to the high street and I'm going to start pottering around, try and find some shops. Definitely want to find that bookshop and some charity shops and generally just have a nice chilled morning. Well, Forres is really sweet. I've just taken a couple of shots of this church, which is gorgeous, and I think I've pretty much done the high street. There's more there than I thought. Lots of charity shops, really sweet gift shop. Obviously the bookshop was amazing, but I'm going to keep pottering around, and then I brought a packed lunch with me, so I might go back to car to have that, and I'm hoping the weather holds so I can go on a wee walk this afternoon. I found a nice bench here in, I think it's called Grant Park, which is a sweet green area, and I'm just about to have some lunch, which I brought with me in my wee bento box. If you watched my recent vlog, my kind of Sunday reset vlog, you would have seen me like prep some of this food, but essentially what's in here, I've got some quinoa, I've got some salad, leaves, radish, olives, I've got some, you can't see because they're buried, roasted cauliflower and broccoli, some kidney beans, and then in my wee pot I've just made like a hummus dressing, which is basically just hummus mixed with lime juice, maple syrup and ground ginger. So a really nourishing lunch, something I like to do to take food with me, and sometimes being vegan it can be tricky to find good options, although I think there's a place called the Pantry in Forres that I was recommended and they sounds like they might do nice kind of nourishing vegan food. But I've got this now and it's a bit more budget friendly as well, making your own packed lunch rather than buy one. So I'm just going to sit here. I brought my book and my journal out with me again, enjoy my lunch, and yeah, watch all the little birdies that are flittering around me. Well, Forres has officially captured my heart a little bit today. I've just had the most lovely day. It's, as I said, a small town, but there's something I really like about small towns because it means you can really take your time to explore them and find your own kind of magic in them. And I felt like I did that today. I felt like I've, been here a wee while and I've just sort of gone up and down the high street, gone to the park, went up to Nelson Tower. That was very cool. And yeah, I've not travelled very far, but I've really enjoyed it. And it just reminds me that, taking myself out into different places really does help fuel me as just a human, but also as a creative. I wrote like 3 pages in my journal in that cafe, and I have had like other thoughts and ideas as I've been like walking about. I love taking you guys with me and getting some really nice shots of the lovely like architecture and obviously the nature that I encounter as I'm going around. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. So if you are in the area, I would recommend visiting. And if you're coming from the south up to north, you do pass by Logie, which I'm not going to pop into today because I do need to get home, but that is also one of my other favourite places to do a hang around in. But I thought I'd show you a few bits and pieces that I did end up buying. Nothing much. I did have my eye out for presents because I have quite a few birthdays coming up. So the first thing I got from the bookshop Under the Leaves, which was gorgeous. I could have bought so many of the books in there. It was so wonderfully curated, and you can just feel that it's created by someone that loves books. Like, it just, I'd love to be more local so I could go in more often. But I actually ended up just getting a card for my dad because it's his birthday next month, and I just felt this is the kind of design that he would really like. I think it's based on somewhere in Findhorn by the looks of it, which is slightly north from here. That was somewhere else I thought about taking you, but I thought it was maybe enough just going around Forres today, because Findhorn is also great. Obviously I did all the charity shops. I did try on a linen type jumpsuit thing, but it wasn't quite the fit, and to be honest it was from, I think it's from Tesco or something originally, and I may be a bit spoiled now in the sense that I do either wear stuff that's new from higher quality brands, either stuff I buy myself or is through my work, kindly get gifted or give through, you know, collaborations with brands, or even when I'm thrifting stuff I do look for like higher quality brands and stuff. So when I do try on cheaper clothing now, it just doesn't feel very comfortable, like I really notice it. So I thought it was worth trying on because it was quite a nice piece, but no, not for me. But I did get a book. I got this one, which I don't think I've heard of before, Pre-Loved, but the first thing that drew me to it was the fact that, in fact, it's called Pre-Loved, and also Dolly Alderton, one of my favourite authors, she wrote that this is one of her favourite writers, Lauren Bravo, who I've never heard of before, but it's about a character called Gwen who is drifting a bit in life and maybe feeling a little bit lonely, which I think a lot of us can relate to in the kind of modern age. But she ends up going to work in a charity shop, and there she starts to connect with people and find their stories in the stuff that they're dropping off and donating and stuff. And as someone that loves spending time in charity shops, I thought that sounded like a really lovely story. So keen to, I think that's probably something that would be quite nice to read in the spring, summer as well, so keen to get into that. I got some chocolate from the refill shop, which again was really well put together, because I don't think I've ever actually, oh, that's the label coming off, I don't think I've ever actually tried on bar, which is shocking because it's a well-known vegan chocolate, and I just got the hazelnut one. There was a pistachio one that I was tempted with, but I just thought for my first on bar I might go with something that I tend to like. I like hazelnut, a bit less risky. And then I did get one present from this gift shop, Yulian Row, which was really lovely. The owner's really sweet as well. She said that she's only been open since November, but she has some really lovely and unique things, and I ended up getting a present. So Aisha, if you're watching, stop watching because it's for you, as one of my friends whose birthday isn't soon, it's in August, but I tend to get things when I see them within reason, if this is quite easy to store, which this will be, because I obviously have limited space living in a tiny home, and I really love to get things if I can get them from like independent shops on like my local high streets and stuff. That is my preferred way of gift shopping. So I got this print, which I just know my friend will really like. I saw it and I thought of her. Just like this woman, this is her kind of colour scheme as well. She's got this a lot of prints and stuff on her walls in her home, so I think this would go through with it. And I think it says at the bottom, yes, I am dramatic, which I don't know, it made me giggle, and I was like, do you know what, I think she'll really like that. And it was only £12, which I thought was quite reasonable, especially as a lot of the stuff in that shop was on the pricier end of things, which is totally understandable because you could tell it was really like well made, really interesting, unique stuff. But I thought for a print that's not actually too bad, so chuffed with that one. Part of me wants to keep it myself, but it's definitely more her style than mine. I think she'll really like it. I hope you enjoy keeping me company. I love taking you out and about on days like this, and it's your reminder to take yourself out on a little date, take you somewhere. It can be somewhere new or somewhere you just really enjoy spending time, and really like be in the moment and let yourself have that kind of treat, because we don't treat ourselves enough, I feel, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. You don't have to buy anything at all, but it can be really lovely to get out and about that way. And I know 3 of you now have watched these kind of videos and have taken yourself out on solo dates, which makes me really happy because I am definitely a champion of them. But I'm going to head home now. I miss my doggy, so I'm going to go give her a cuddle, and I will check in with you guys soon.